Are you ready for a reboot? Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. History reminds us those hit hardest often become the change makers. This year, we've all hit crazy economic, social, and emotional rock bottoms. We all get knocked down. Something hits globally, locally, personally. It affects our health, finances, our relationships. We have to recreate a business or career. Each show, Sheila and her special guest will be sharing their reboot stories, guiding you with real solutions to upgrade and up-level emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Here on NBC's KCAA Radio.
Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you reinvent, reboot, and rebuild your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and today we have special guest, Bolu Adefemi. Bolu is a 14-year-old Canadian singer-songwriter of Zimbabwean and Nigerian origin who emerged as an important new artist in the summer of 2020 with her internationally acclaimed song, Make It Right. That's a powerful call to action about social injustices. Just weeks after first performing the song publicly, she was performing it for media nationwide and around the world and was soon honored with the Universal Women's Network Award and is currently the 2020 Youth Excellent Ambassador and 2020 Zimbabwe Young Achievers Award recipient. Bolu is already a world changer. This hugely impactful young woman continues to use her voice, determination, and many talents to make a positive difference in the world. Take a listen to the award-winning song, Make It Right.
2020, what have you become? I'm just wondering what's going on. Why are people so cruel? What was done to you? People preaching truth, they're getting ignored. Don't even know what to do anymore. Have they not realized that it's time to make it right? What am I seeing from my eyes? When will they just apologize? Had enough of all this crime. Now it's time to make it right. 2020, what have you become? I'm just wondering what's going on. Why are people so cruel? What was done to you? People preaching truth, they're getting ignored. Don't even know what to do anymore. Have they not realized that it's time to make it right? What am I seeing from my eyes? When will they just apologize? Had enough of all this crying. Now it's time to make it right. Enough of wasted lives. This is wrong, no it ain't fine. Can we all just stop the fight and make it right? 2020, what have you become? I'm just wondering what's going on. Why are people so cruel? What was done to you? People preaching truth, they're getting ignored. Don't even know what to do anymore. Have they not realized that it's time to make it right? What am I seeing from my eyes? When will they just apologize? Had enough of all this crime. Now it's time to make it right. 2020, what have you become? I'm just wondering what's going on. Why are people so cruel? What was done to you? People preaching truth, they're getting ignored. Don't even know what to do anymore. Have they not realized that it's time to make it right? What am I seeing from my eyes? When will they just apologize? Had enough of all this crying. Now it's time to make it right. 'I've had enough of wasted lives. This is wrong, no it ain't fine. Can we all just stop the fight and make it right? What have you become? I'm just wondering what's going on. Why are people so cruel? What was done to you? People preaching truth, they're getting ignored. Don't even know what to do anymore. Have they not realized that it's time to make it right? What am I seeing from my eyes? When will they just apologize? Had enough of all this crime. Now it's time to make it right. 2020, what have you become? I'm just wondering what's going on. Why are people so cruel? What was done to you? People preaching truth, they're getting ignored. Don't even know what to do anymore. Have they not realized that it's time to make it right? What am I seeing from my eyes? When will they just apologize? Had enough of all this crying. Now it's time to make it right. 2020, enough of wasted lives. This is wrong, no it ain't fine. Can we all just stop the fight and make it right?
All right, welcome to the show, Bolu.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Sheila. I'm very thankful to be here and I'm excited.
Yes, and okay, so I always start my show. This show actually came about after my best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. And this last, 15 months, almost 2 years now, it seems, we've had this universal pause and so many situations that we couldn't even imagine before. So do you have a time maybe you could share with the audience about maybe a time in your business or personal life where you experienced a difficult situation and how you got back on track?
Okay. Sorry. Let me think. Okay. So I think honestly, it's hard for me. I feel like because I'm still young, I don't really have much like business related. But I guess personal. I mean, this isn't as like huge, but I guess when I was younger, I did move schools a lot. So I guess sometimes adjusting to different schools and meeting different people and getting to know different friends. Sometimes I guess it was hard for me to like adjust and connect with people. But in order to overcome that, I really just kind of went out of my comfort zone. And I had met at my second school a friend that had actually met friends at my other school, my third school that I moved to. So I guess that's one of the things that I would cause or choose to be a hard time.
Yes, and this last year, I have 6 children. I adopted three from birth, and so they're all grown now and in college and beyond. So the college kids, they actually came home to stay because they live in the dorm, and so that was a very interesting situation for us and hard even on my older young adults, because who's used to being home so much and not connecting to your friends and peers. So I'd like for you to share a time in your life. Then where did this start, your singing and your passion for all you're doing? Excuse me one second.
It's okay. That's perfect. And now that you mentioned that, even it reminds me of like COVID itself as like in this time right now, how it's kind of an obstacle that, obviously we're still going through, but it has had some effects on me as well as everyone else. And I think music is really how I've tried to overcome whether it's any stress I might have or any, confusion during this time. So yeah, that kind of also relates to that. But
Yes.
in terms of where my music started, my passion, so I usually like to say that happened since birth because I've always loved to sing, and my mom said I was a very kicking child. But yes, I think I always just wanted to find this way to inspire people and just influence people. I always, yeah, wanted to be someone that was able to help people with anything they could be possibly going through. And I found music to be the easiest way because I already had gravitated to music. I listened to Jamie Grace when I was younger, even younger, and she really influenced me and inspired me. And she's a singer songwriter, she plays guitar. And so I found that a lot of people use music. There's a variety of platforms, there's YouTube, and I wanted to share my positive message, and I found music to be one of the best ways.
Nice. Yes. So that is something very healing. And I know you can listen to music, and Tony Robbins says it'll change your state, your emotional feelings. So you listen to a sad song, and I mean, I have a song that you play that song and I will be in tears.
Exactly.
Within a second. And others where I'll be dancing and running around the house. I literally clean my house with music. I'll turn the music on and have fun, like reorganizing, cleaning, whatever I'm doing, because it makes it fun instead of just boring. And then I'm singing, and my singing is probably not anywhere close to your singing. If I could sing like you could, I'd be up on the rooftops and they wouldn't be able to shut me up. But anyway, so I'm a secret singer, but it's something that is so healing for all of us, especially during this time. And your song is, so did you write your song as well?
Yes, I did write my song Make It Right last year, actually. It's almost a year. It's crazy.
Wow. So can you share some of what's in the song, some of the words and how that came to you and
I would love to. So, actually, how it all came about uh, is that last year, while everything was going on in terms of like Black Lives Matter protests and just COVID had just hit, and it was just a crazy time overall for everyone. I was
Mhm,
just thinking, I want to write a song that inspires people and touches people's hearts and just really spreads love because everyone was going through it. Everyone was feeling, you know, pain or trouble in different ways, and even still now. And so I wanted to make a change and an impact. But in that time, I was in school and I was like, when am I going to find the time to write a song? Because sometimes I feel like sometimes I might think too much into songs, but the one lyric that I knew I wanted to have if I did end up writing a song is Make It Right, which is
mhm,
actually the main part of my song, which is called Make It Right.
mhm,
And so what had happened is coincidentally, I was asked to sing and perform at a Black Lives Matter um, into a celebrate not celebration, but it was a commemoration in support of Black Lives Matter. And I
mhm.
was asked to perform there, and I was like, wait, what? This is perfect. Like this is where I can share my song. So I started writing and I started putting it together, and the words came to me at different times. It took me 2 days to write this because some words would come in one day, some the other day. But yeah, that's really where my inspiration came from and how it all came together.
Beautiful. That's incredible and so important. And there's, if you're listening in, this is Bolu, and she is 14 years old and wrote a song and performed for the Black Lives Matter movement, and she's done so many incredible things already. So little things make a big difference, big things make a difference, and use your talents. If you're listening in, whatever your talent, it could be completely different from singing. I cannot sing very well, but whatever you do as your talent, you can share that right now with our world that needs so much healing and love and light right now. Just everybody makes such a difference. You'll be surprised. It's the grassroots efforts that are going to make the change that we really need in this
Mhm.
world at this time. I know for my kids, it was a scary, interesting time, and they never really got that into politics. And then they were very much into politics with
Mhm.
everything going on and very involved with it all. So it just changed. I think it's the change that our young people are going to bring.
Mhm.
You're our leader. You and all the young people on the planet are going to lead the future. And this time, it's the time of the COVID, the universal pause, all this crazy stuff going on also. But it's a time where things got a little more serious than before all this happened,
Mhm.
where you're really thinking about what am I called to do and how can I make this change happen faster?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So important. So now I'd love to hear about maybe some of your goals or newer songs that are coming out. What's the future for you?
Yes, so I do have a song, Just Breathe, coming out, and it has been shown in a variety of places. And I'm very, very excited for this song because this is a song I wrote about how, like, self-care, it kind of revolves around self-care. And I feel like sometimes during life, not just for me, but for a bunch of people, we tend to just work, 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 and work, and we don't actually take time to like breathe and take in our environment. And then when you look back, you're like, when did I really have fun? And when did I really relax? And when did I do this and that? So the song is just a reminder to just breathe, as it's called.
Mm,
Take time for yourself. So I have that coming up, hopefully a music video coming up as well. That song will be releasing in the summer. So I'm very, very excited for that. And yeah, and just more interviews. And I'm writing more songs too, which every day I try to write a song. But yeah, that's kind of
beautiful.
what I've been doing.
Now, are you in school or doing online school with the COVID? What's school like for you?
Yes, I'm in online school right now. It's been crazy overall this year. We've been in and out of school a few times, but right now we're online for the rest of the year.
Yes, that's the thing. My younger college, my two college kids are waiting to go to the campus, and they're
Mhm.
supposed to be able to start in August.
Mhm.
And so it has been beyond difficult to not be able to connect with friends as much or in the same way as we're accustomed to, I guess. And so, I mean, new relationships have shown up in different ways online, but there's nothing like hugging your friends and talking and laughing and joking. And yeah,
Right? Yeah.
yeah.
Our
It,
overall like socializing and everything has just changed drastically. And it's
mhm.
strange, like there's no way for you to avoid this or be prepared for it. So you just have to adjust really and so.
Yes. Yes. Now, I was raised primarily by grandparents,
Mhm.
and my grandmother lived through the Spanish flu. She lived to be 103, and she lived through the Spanish flu, the Great Depression, and she would tell me all these beautiful stories of what she went through, and all her older friends would get together and have tea. And I'm this little 5-year-old kid, and I would listen to their stories. And they were all beautiful, stoic women. They came from, I'm in Los Angeles, California. So it's like everybody's there, all the different cultures. So I had people, grandma's friends were from all over. She was from Italy, one from Greece, one that escaped the concentration camps, all these stories. And they were these women that survived. And I thought, okay, you know what? We all are going to have a story. We're going to have to go through it. It's not something we created, all this crazy stuff. But what are we going to do? We're going to get to the other side of this, and together in
Mhm.
communities, people joining together, that's going to help us get to the other side in a beautiful place. And it's going to be our story. We're in such historic times right now. These are our stories, and everything that we do can make such an impact on our future.
I agree. I agree with that totally. Yeah, it's the way you really look at it and the way you take things, I believe, because, there's a variety of people, but we're all being hit with the same thing, the same bullet, and it's the way you take the bullet and what you do with it and how you, choose to live with it, I guess. So,
Yes.
I agree.
Yes. So now, some of your new songs, how many songs have you already produced or have out there already?
So out there right now, I only have two songs actually. I only have Make It Right and When Life Changed. So Make It Right is the song that you talked about earlier, and then When Life Changed was a song, I think the first song I ever released to the public on my
Mhm.
YouTube channel, and it's a song I wrote about COVID-19.
Wow. Okay. So let's get into the wording. And you wrote these songs. That's a lot of talent there, writing and singing. Incredible. So, could you share maybe some of the lyrics or how that song goes or what that's about a little bit more in depth?
For When Life Changed?
Yes.
Okay, so my favorite lyric would probably be just do the right thing for your family. We're all praying this disease will be over soon. Just remember this ain't all about you. And so I think that's my one of my favorite verses. And when I wrote this, my overall thought was just to a kind of anthem to remind people, to wash their hands, to social distance, wear your mask, and
Mm,
just try to do, the best that you can do as a citizen. And so by just remember this ain't all about you, what I really meant by that is at the start, students in my class I know and in a variety of other schools were like, oh my gosh, like, yes, this is amazing. We get breaks off school. And they thought it was just something fun. And then and even me myself at the start, I was like, oh, okay, it's gonna be over soon. This is not bad. And I mean, it has been extended more. So instead of taking this as like, I guess, a joyride in a way, or just continue to do your best and strive to do your best and not only think of yourself, but everyone else around you, the community and the family and everyone. So that's
mhm.
kind of one of my favorite verse.
Yes, that is so important, and what a great message during this time. It's like you want to have fun wherever you're planted, but then there's a serious side to this that's very serious, that to honor everybody and listen. Sometimes people are coming from a different place mask, no mask, this, that, whatever. But it's in the end, there's a lot of fear and confusion. And it's like, you got to give people love when they're so scared.
Exactly.
And yeah, to get to the other side of this, it's back to that community again. And so when did you start? So you started singing, like before you were born, you were dancing. so, so now when did you get involved with the social justice for trying to right the wrongs of this planet? When did that really show up in your life?
Honestly, I'm not quite sure, to be honest. I feel like I want to say 9 and up because that's when I started guitar lessons.
Mm,
So my guitar teacher, Tom Crickle, he was amazing, and I took guitar for 2 years, I believe, 2, 3 years. But I remember, I think he once showed me this song, and I forget what it was talking about, but it was definitely something to do with social injustices, and I gravitated towards that song because I've always gravitated towards songs with like a meaning, and
hmm
usually something that has a message behind it because I feel like it's more meaningful and it's kind of like you're connecting or talking to the artist. And I wanted my songs to be like that, and I wanted my songs to move. So I would like to say around the age of 9 is where I was inspired by those kind of songs.
that's really important. There's something they call the 9-year change, and it's when we start coming into our older, more adult ways.
Hmm.
9 years, if you look at any 9-year-old, that's when they start really coming into their own. And it sounds way too young, but it's something that really happens a lot. There's a whole study by Rudolf Steiner, who studies education, about this 9-year um, change that happens where there's so much awareness beyond the self, beyond, okay, I need to be fed and I need to be taken to school and I want to play. And, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait, there's other people here on this planet. These things are important. They matter. And so it's this whole change that happens. And I don't know how many younger people I've interviewed and talked with that have had that exact year where that awareness.
Oh yeah, that's really true.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And so some of the things, did you get that, I guess the learning behind the social justice causes and this and that, was that from home? Was that from school, from books? Was there a book that inspired you for all that?
Well, when I was younger, I read a bunch of books, to be honest, and I kind of shied away from that and started reading more during COVID. But I really do think it was mainly from my parents, from at home.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, of course, when you're younger, you're like, oh, the world is perfect. And at
Right.
first, it was kind of like, oh, wow, like this is interesting. This is really, there's different things happening around the world, different issues, different problems. And yeah, but it was mainly from home and kind of like the decision for me personally on how I want to have an impact on this issues and these
Mhm.
issues.
Yes. That is so important. Family conversations and elders. I mean, I was blessed to have the older generation, so I had this living history
Mhm.
that was told to me. I didn't have to get it out of the boring books at school. Nothing personal about the books in school, but they're like all wrong, obviously, anyway. And so they don't have the truth. They don't have the emotion. They don't have the connection. It's dates and times, and there's no, it's not as
Intimate.
yeah, and that's the connection. When you get that connection and you see those, I'm you, you're me, this is us in humanity, and we have to make these changes together, and you see the pain and you feel the differences that can happen. That's where there's some inspiration that happens, and you want to get involved. So families listening in, parents listening in, even if you don't have children, if you have children in your neighborhood and you're able to talk with the parents and share some of your stories of the real histories that you've already been through, and ways to help, that can make all the difference. It really can.
Yes, that's true.
Yes. Yes. And so one of the things I'm wondering is, was there one book or one story that was like your book or story? I asked this to some of the people that are much older than 14, but is there one particular book?
Um, wow. To be honest, I'm not quite sure. There are, now that I'm reading once again, there are a variety of books that I've been interested into. But
Mhm.
my like actually that's a really good question. Wow. Um Honestly, I don't believe so. No, I don't think so. I think really it's just taking bits and pieces from a variety of books and like the lessons that I've learned from a variety of books and putting it together. But
Mhm.
a certain book, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, one of the things that I did with my incredible family of six with this huge, we adopted three and three of our own. So this huge family and very different. Everybody's coming from a different place really to become a family.
Mhm.
And one of the things I always uh I guess taught my children was to have discernment, whether you're reading a book in a classroom, whatever it is, put it through our values, your values, whatever that is for you. Make sure it goes through that value center and make sure it aligns. And if it doesn't, keep what works. And if it doesn't, that's okay. You don't, just because someone's older or it's in a book or somebody's teaching it, it doesn't mean it's all truth, because a lot of times people put their own slant on things. And so, of course, by the time they were your age and above, they questioned me the most. I said, question everything. And they questioned me. And I was like, wait, what? Not me. But that was perfect. That's what you want. You want to have that freedom to do that. And it gives you the ability to it's discernment, to be able to walk away from anything not aligned. And it's something that's really important to have. It's nothing personal against something, but if a book isn't right, a lot of the history books aren't right, a lot of things are not right. So do the research, do
Yes.
your own research, talk with your family, talk with your loved ones, and read the books, because readers are leaders, and you're going to get so much more out of the reading.
Mhm.
It really is.
That
Yes.
is true.
So yeah, one of the things I'd love to hear also is maybe an example of some of your music that we could share at some point. That if you could send that over, I can add that to this. So I don't know if you have that or not, but
Oh, right now?
yeah.
I may have an MP3. Let me check. But I do have it. If you're able to, I do
Yeah.
have it on my channel as well as different outputs like Spotify and Apple Music.
Okay.
Um,
Great.
hmm. I'll take a look though.
Okay.
In the
So
mean, oh, sorry.
no, I'll talk while you're looking. So yeah, so that's something really important for parents listening in, grandparents, whatever. If you have children, there's not an age that you have to be to start contributing,
Mhm.
to contribute to what's going on in the world right now with their talents, and to use their talents, whatever it is, whatever their interest is. I have one child that's really into chess, and he ended up being a chess master, and he plays at
Mm.
tournaments all over the world as an adult now, and makes a lot of money doing what he loves and has fun at it. And that's his chess was his thing, and building computers. So I think when he was 11, he helped network the Staples Center before they opened in California, as an apprentice. So he wasn't a paid student, but he actually was like a intern apprentice student that worked with the Step One Solutions was the company. And so I wanted my kids to go do those things. You don't have to wait. Now's the best time at the youngest age. And you know what? If you're listening in and you're 50 plus or 60, you're still the youngest you ever be right now. So go do whatever you want to do now and live your life, and just enjoy your talents, because then you're having fun. You start making money doing what you love. So
That's
that,
amazing.
yeah, that makes a difference. And yeah, I have another one that's a writer. That my daughter's into psychology. She would bring kids, Mom, this kid, we need to get help. This one, I found this one at school and they're cutting. They have a problem. She would do that as a young kid, and I was like, okay. And we would help these kids, and that was her passion. She's already worked at she's 25 now, but she's worked at a since she was 19, she worked at a foster care program, a home for girls that were pregnant with young babies, and she was their counselor, junior counselor. And so she did that while she was in school for psychology. And the boss was like, well, sweetheart, you look nice, you look sweet, you're not going to last a week. And she's like, no, I got this. And she's been there ever since. And so and she connects with the kids, and she's able to help them because she has that's her heart. So go with your heart. Singing is your heart. And so that's it. Yes.
Thank you. And what you mentioned there, how the person said that she wouldn't be able to do it. That's the thing. Like, there's going to be along the way of whatever journey or whatever path you take, there's going to be people telling you that you can't do it, or you're not able to, or you're too small, or whatever. There's always going to be something. And I think it's just important to, once you set your eyes on something that you're really, truly passionate about, that you just keep going and you keep persevering and you remember why you started it in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The more they tell you you can't, the more you know you can.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's ridiculous how we tend to listen to our peers and outside people that really don't matter that much, or they haven't accomplished the things that you want to do. You want to get feedback from other people in the music industry for you, or feedback from people that are in the industry or already doing what you're doing or starting to do, not somebody has no idea.
Yes, because at the end of the day, it's true, because at the end of the day, you're going to be the one doing the work. And so you really want to be doing something that you're happy with and not something you're doing to please others, because then it's not fun, right?
Right.
That's important.
Yes, definitely. Okay. And so for the music part, if you weren't able to find that, I can add that in before it goes to air.
Okay.
So, okay.
I did send in MP3 on Gmail.
Okay. So, as long as we can download that, we'll talk after. So, all right. So that's wonderful. Now, where can people find your music?
Love this part. Okay, so I have YouTube, Instagram, all that kind of fun stuff. So for my YouTube, it is Bolu Sings, capital BOLUS, capital SINGS, as well as my Facebook. And then for my Twitter and my Instagram, it is Bolu Sings 1. Same spelling, just no uppercases and then the number 1. So it's BOLUSINGS and then the number 1. And then for my music, you can search up Bolu Sings on Apple Music, on Spotify, on Deezer, on Amazon Music. I'm on a bunch of platforms, so if you pretty much search up my name, you can find my music and my songs.
Wonderful. Now, this is a question I ask at the end of the interviews. I ask a guest to share about what they would tell their younger self. Now, since you're 14 years old, I don't know, what would you tell maybe your 9-year-old self, your younger self? What would you tell your younger self?
If I could tell my 1 second, let me think about this. Okay. If I could tell my younger self something, I think I would tell my younger self that, honestly, I feel like I've applied it today though, but I mean, this is something I would want everyone else to know as well, but I think it'd be that my feelings are valid. What I have to say is important. Yes. Because I feel like sometimes as you're growing up, for me personally, I feel like there's some times where you feel as if, oh, maybe I shouldn't add my input towards this, or maybe I should just agree with them, even though I have an idea that might, potentially work. And so it's in a variety of places, workplaces, or just school environments. And now that I'm older, even a little older, I realized that what you do have to say as a person does matter, and what you do have to input does matter, and your feelings are important. Yes. And so that's also something I feel strongly on. So
yeah. Wow, that is wisdom about lifting your voice from our new incredible singer, using her voice for social justice on this planet. That is perfect and incredible. And right on point for what we need to hear.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bolu, for being a guest on the show.
Thank
And
you.
yes, we look forward to sharing and interviewing with you again and sharing more songs as they show up. All
I
right.
can't wait.
All right. And for those tuning in, stay tuned. We'll be back after these messages. Overview of the Boots formula. In December of 2017, I lost my house, my car, and my cat due to a fire. It sounds like a country music song, but that was my reality, and yet another rock bottom situation. After a long period of doing really well, when we're able to retrain our minds to focus on the positives, we're able to enjoy more of life, even while we're rebuilding and rebooting. We're going to starve those negative thoughts, not feeding them with our attention, time, or energy. When you focus on the good parts of your life, those things that you can be grateful for in this moment, that energy will bring even more good things your way. Contribute and utilize your unique talent. You're not thinking about the problem at hand. You're not showing up for approval. You're just being your best self. You use your rock bottom to set the direction for your life beyond this rock bottom situation. It's important that you are really honest about where you are in this situation. You can't lie because you don't want to give up your personal responsibility. You have to own every part of this and realize it could be worse. It could be better, but this is it. If you aren't able to be honest about where you're starting from, you won't be able to clearly see where you want to go or how to get there. The next letter of Boots will help you answer that. The second O is for order of operations. The third step of the Boots formula is finding the order of operations. When you're in a rock bottom moment, there are certain steps you know you need to take to get out of it, and you need to complete those steps in a certain order. T is for thinking. The fourth step of the Boots formula is thinking. If you recall your thinking at the most successful points in your life, it's probably vastly different from your thinking when a crisis brings you to a rock bottom situation. Often, at the toughest times, our thinking goes to survival. We lose sight of the possibilities and opportunities that are before us. This is where thinking comes into play. It's vital to have a strong mindset in order to keep our boots on and walk out of a rough spot in life. Thinking leads you to a clear vision of where you want to go on that map of your desired outcome. You've made the decision that you're going to New York. Your bags are packed. You have an idea of how you're going to get there. You know the steps you need to take, though you may not know how the hell you're going to take them all, but you've made up your mind. That's where you're going. Tony Robbins often says, it's in the moment of decision that one's destiny is shaped. That decision is the thought that comes before the action steps required to reach your new goal. Everything happens in this step, in that decision. You can see it, feel it, embody it. Things start to show up because you're looking for them and you're open to them. You'll start getting the results you want just because that decision is in your mind. It becomes that real to you. Once you have that clear vision in your mind, you have to see yourself as if you already are living in your desired reality. You're just doing the steps to get there. S is for stepping up. The fifth and final step of the Boots formula is a literal step, stepping up. You've gone through the first 4 steps. You've decided how you're going to show up. You have a picture of where you're going. You know the steps you need to take, and you've made the decision to actually do something. It would be nice if you could just sit, think, and meditate your desired outcome into being. But that's not the way it works. There is some validity to the idea of manifesting what you want, but at the same time, you have to believe enough to actually go out there and take the risk. You have to overcome your fear of giving your first
presentation, making your first speech, or writing your first book. You have to get out of your comfort zone and you have to take those steps. S is for stepping up by taking the personal responsibility required for a real reboot. While the B in Boots is about being in the present with who you are in the situation, S is for taking those steps toward the future you want. Although there will be many times in life where we have little or no true personal responsibility for an event that alters our lives, it is always a gift to own your own response and reactions to situations. What can you do to shift the energy and step up to your part in the situation? In order to reboot, one must be willing to step into action. This last step ties back to the first one. It all comes back to being. How are you going to be when you're going through this? Sometimes it's ugly, dirty, not pretty, and certainly not fun. Nobody's going to help you move, so you have to pack all the boxes yourself. Procrastinating isn't going to help. You just have to take those action steps you defined in the order of operations. When you first start, it's overwhelming because you feel like you're still buried in the situation. Chaos is all around. But because you've done the first 4 steps of Boots, you have an action plan. You're not doing 1,000 steps today. You just have to take 1. You do the things that you mapped out one by one, and that helps you see, okay, I can do that. You have clarity on the action steps, so now it's time to actually get moving. Are you ready to strap on your boots and start walking? From rock bottom to moment of empowerment. You may be thinking, okay, now I know the formula, but what does it look like in action? Great question. Let's look at the rock bottom moment I told you about at the beginning of the chapter to see how I applied the Boots formula to get back into right action. After the fire, after my cat ran away, and after my car was totaled, I was in a funk for a week and a half or 2 weeks before I even noticed. I don't know if it was shock or depression or overwhelm. Probably all of that. It was a lot of loss in a short period of time. But then I had to go back to work and I needed a way to get there. Being. For that first week or 2, I was being a victim. I grieved the cat, the car I had recently bought in cash and was very proud of, my house and the whole lifestyle I had just rebuilt after the divorce, another loss that I had recently overcome. All my beautiful, most favorite things were in that house and I lost them all. I was also grieving over the plan to have one of my children move back in with me while she went to college. She'd already been having second thoughts, but she didn't want to tell me and risk hurting my feelings. When I ended up in the tiny house in the hills, we both realized it wasn't going to happen. It felt like a really shitty place to end up. I wondered, how the hell did I get here in just a 5-day period? As I was going through my own rock bottom situations, I had to ask, who do I need to be? I had to own my little strength as well as my many weaknesses. I had to be vulnerable enough to admit those weaknesses in order to use my strengths to help me through. I had to own my truth, own myself, and trust that I was going to do the steps to get out of this rock bottom. I also had to take care of myself. I had a good reason to have a pity party, but I had even better reasons to get out of that funk and start asking, what can I do? When I was showing up with an active mindset instead of the pity party, it made a big difference. Orientation. Evacuating from the fire and the immediate aftermath was a terrible situation. I could have blamed the fire. After all, I lost almost everything. But that would have meant giving power to that fire and giving up my own power over the situation. Blaming somebody or something else puts you in the victim role. And I didn't want to be a victim. I didn't want to sit there and feel powerless. I wasn't in control of the fire itself, but I was in control of my reaction to it. I was in control of how I decided to wake up in the morning and what I decided to do with each day, how I wanted to move forward. After the fire, I had to do a big assessment to see where I was financially and to recognize that emotionally, I was down the hill. I was shocked and depressed. A lot of my friends had lost their homes too, and the fires were still burning. Everybody in the entire community was suffering. We were all affected, somber behind our respirator masks. Schools and businesses were closed, so children stayed home with their parents, who couldn't go to work anyway. People who had lost their homes were relocated to emergency shelters. It was very devastating. I felt for everyone around me, but I was in the middle of it too. To orient myself, I had to ask, what are my options? What are my resources? Who can help me? What can I do to help other people? Then I had to say, wow, I have to use that boot to kick myself out of this. Order of operations. It was during this stage of the process that I realized I had to use every single resource that I had. I had to go through boxes of stuff I rescued from the fire. I had to pay bills and file my insurance claim. I got a beat-up Nissan, really old and funky, that barely ran. The windows rolled down using a hand crank, and you had to lock the doors manually. Nothing was automatic at all. It needed a ton of maintenance, but it just wasn't worth putting money into it. I had to take the car up and down a canyon road, though, so I paid to fix the brakes and steering. While I was waiting for the mechanic to finish, I went and bought a fancy steering wheel cover and a bunch of motivational stickers that I plastered all over the inside of the car. I had it waxed and cleaned and made it the best damn beater car you could drive. I was going to rough it in style. That was when I started to get out of my funk a little. I knew that I had to focus on the positive, not think about what I had lost, and look instead at what I was going toward. I couldn't make it down the hill to the gym to work out until the car was fixed, so I got out my old rebounder trampoline and said affirmations while I worked out, which you'll learn about in the exercise at the end of this chapter. The neighbors thought I was crazy. I let other people who had lost their homes stay in the other units of my home rental, helping people who were just as bad off as I was, but who didn't have a mobile home to go to. I made space by shifting through the things I had rescued and donating anything I didn't absolutely need to other people who needed them more than I did. I felt better helping people than I did sitting around in my pity party. I couldn't get stuck blaming the fire for all my problems. There was nothing I could do to change what had happened. All I could do was figure out how to move forward and up-level by figuring out how to help other people who were affected and even worse off than I was. Just the act of getting up and doing something, being able to contribute and be involved, was empowering. Thinking. I had to have the thoughts, the vision of what life could look like. It was a lot of mind over matter. Anytime it got to be too much, thinking about my loss, I said, "That's silly. I don't have time for that." I don't mean to sound like I was always cheerful. I just kept laser focused only on what I could be grateful for.
Is not one size fits all, just like a pair of boots or a bra. So the formula is designed to help you through any situation. To grab a copy of my new best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. It is now available on Audible
as well as on Amazon and Kindle and at www.sheilamac.com. Homework, grab a copy of my bestseller Bootstraps and Bra Straps to learn the formula to go from rock bottom and back into action in any situation. If you have a burning question for the show, send it in to www.dearsheila.com. Tune in again Mondays at 1 p.m. Pacific Time and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Time, right here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.